My people, e get dis fine rich man for town wey carry engagement ring give woman wey dey plot him downfall, and guess who save am? E go shock you. Stop for dis. Today Aunty Gistina bring you one love and betrayal gist from the heart of Alonda city. Dis one get pepper. Henry Adebayo Daniels was a 36-year-old businessman from Rivers State, but raised in Alonda. Tall, clean, calm. One of those men who didn't talk too much, but when he did, people listened. He inherited part of his father's construction empire and expanded it with hard work. No shortcuts, no scandals, just quiet focus. He was the kind of man parents wanted their daughters to marry. But Henry had one weakness: he trusted too easily. He met Rachel Kalu during a government housing conference in Lagos. She was smart, a project manager working on a UN housing initiative. Also, she said, she had charm, she had presence, and she knew how to look people dead in the eye while lying. For the first few months, their relationship was long distance. She lived in Abuja, he in Alunda. That helped her control the narrative. She always seemed busy, always had reasons not to meet his family yet. But when she finally moved to Alunda and they started living together, the cracks didn't show immediately. She played the fiancé role perfectly, cooked, smiled, even joined Henry at charity events. What Henry didn't know was that Rachel's job had ended over a year ago. She wasn't working. She was living off savings, soft loans, and the growing financial support from Henry, who never questioned the delays in her salary. He thought he was helping her through a hard season. What he didn't know was that Rachel wasn't struggling, she was scheming. Tara Williams was 23 and had experienced too much pain for her age. She grew up in Benue, the only child of two civil servants. Her parents died in a flood-related car accident during her final year in university. With no relatives willing to help, Tara had to drop out for a year before completing her degree. After graduating, she came to Alunda hoping for a fresh start, but jobs were scarce and her CV didn't feed her. Through a distant aunt, she got a job as a housemaid in the Daniels home. She didn't see it as a failure. She saw it as survival. She was diligent, respectful, and quiet. She knew how to stay invisible when needed, but she had sharp eyes and a steady memory. Tara didn't snoop. She just noticed things. Rachel from day one treated Tara like a pet stranger, never cruel, just cold. Rachel, please don't come into the kitchen unless I ask you to. Tara, all right, ma. Rachel, and I don't like staff chatting with visitors, okay? We keep things professional. Harry, on the other hand, was polite. He greeted her when he saw her, and something about her caught his attention, making him crush on her at first sight. But she was not in his class and he was with Rachel. He always said thank you when she served tea or cleared his plate. Tara liked him too, but dared not show it if she needed to keep her job. She didn't mind the tension. She kept it to herself, sent part of her salary to a cousin in Makurdi who was helping her retrieve her NYC posting, and told herself this maid job was just for now. Rachel and Henry's relationship wasn't fiery. It was quiet, maybe too quiet. Henry wasn't the romantic type. He provided comfort. He paid for Rachel's mother's hospital bills without being asked, supported her when her younger sister needed school fees, and even added her name to the deed of a duplex he was developing. A decision he made based on love, not logic. Rachel accepted everything like it was owed to her. One night, Tara was cleaning the main living room when Rachel walked in talking on the phone. She didn't notice Tara was there. Rachel, on the phone, low voice said, "No, he hasn't checked the accounts yet. Can't you just wait? After the wedding, everything will be sorted. I'm telling you, he trusts me." Tara froze. Rachel suddenly saw her and ended the call. Rachel gave a tight smile and said, "You enjoy eavesdropping?" Tara replied scared, "Sorry ma, I was just dusting." Rachel replied with narrowed eyes, "Then do it quietly next time." Tara apologized and walked away. She didn't understand what she heard, not yet, but something about Rachel's tone lingered in her mind. That night, while journaling on her old Infinix phone, she typed, Rachel account after the wedding. He trusts me. She didn't have proof, just instinct, but it was enough to make her watch more closely. Henry had always been generous, but Rachel's influence made him reckless in ways he didn't recognize. She convinced him to start a joint account for future household expenses. She claimed it was just practical, not romantic, not controlling. Henry, thinking it was a step toward marriage, agreed. He even started transferring small portions of his business profit there. Not much at first, but Rachel was patient. One afternoon, Tara brought drinks to the study while Rachel was helping Henry organize receipts for a new foundation project. Tara caught the tail end of the conversation. "You should consider putting the duplex in our name. It just looks better legally. Don't worry, I'll handle the paperwork." "You know I'm good with that," Rachel said. Henry hesitated. Henry replied, "Rachel, I'm not saying no. I just let me think about it." Rachel didn't argue. She just smiled, like someone playing a long game. Later that evening, Henry traveled unexpectedly to Port Harcourt for a project meeting. Rachel didn't seem surprised. In fact, she seemed relieved. That night, it rained heavily. Everyone was asleep, but Tara woke up when the kitchen door creaked open. She had forgotten to turn off the back passage light. From her small room near the pantry, she could see faint shadows on the tiled floor. She tiptoed toward the kitchen quietly. At the back entrance, she saw Rachel in a robe, hair covered, hugging a man in a grey hoodie. He smelled of cigarettes and wore worn down sneakers. Tara couldn't see his face clearly, but the way he held Rachel told a different kind of story. She became furious because she liked Henry, and Rachel is acting suspicious already. It wasn't brotherly, it was intimate. They didn't say much, just murmurs. Then he handed her something, an envelope. She slipped it into her handbag and walked him to the gate herself. The next morning, Rachel was extra cheerful. She told Tara to take the day off from upstairs cleaning and stay on laundry duty. She didn't want Tara near the living room. Tara obeyed, but she knew something wasn't right. Over the next week, Rachel became more secretive. She started locking drawers, whispering during phone calls, and often went out without the driver. She claimed she was running errands for the wedding planner. Tara kept her distance, but one morning, while changing the bed sheets in the guest room, she found a forgotten folder under a pillow. The paper sticking out caught her attention. She wasn't a snoop, but something pulled her closer. Inside was a printed email. The name at the top said, "To Ted Ekene, subject, final documents for signature." Tara's chest tightened. She knew that name. Back in January, Rachel had shouted at someone on the phone late one night, claiming he was harassing her, and she had cut ties long ago. She had mentioned the name, Ted, in a way that sounded final. Henry had even told Tara the next day, offhandedly, that Rachel had closed a dark chapter in her past. Yet, here was Ted's name on a legal document about financial transfers. She didn't take the paper, she didn't even touch it, but she memorized the name, date, and subject line. Later that evening, she sent a message to her cousin, Ife, who was studying law in Abuja. "Can you find out anything about a man named Ted Ekene? Might be linked to business or fraud. Please keep it quiet." Ife replied 2 hours later, "Ted Ekene, former employee of Zeltex Holdings, fired for embezzlement in 2021, is on a blacklist with three property developers. Avoid him." "Why?" Tara didn't reply immediately. She sat still for a long time, staring at her own reflection in the kitchen window. She didn't know exactly what was going on yet, but one thing was clear. Rachel Kalu was lying, and Henry Daniels had no idea. After Tara received that text from her cousin Ife confirming that Ted Ekene had been fired for fraud, she didn't sleep much. She didn't need to be a lawyer to know something serious was going on. But how do you accuse your employer's fiancé of planning fraud, especially when you're just the maid and in love with your employer? The next morning, while dusting the home office, Tara overheard Henry on a call. "Yeah," she said, The lawyer will handle the property name change. I trust her. She's been handling it well. Tara paused. Her hand made air over the bookshelf. She swallowed hard. Rachel was trying to put a house in both their names, a house fully paid for by Henry. And the lawyer, Rachel's friend, not his. It was too dangerous to keep quiet. That evening, Tara texted Ife again. Can you help me find anything linking Rachel Kalu and Tedekine? Even old photos, business papers, anything. Ife didn't reply immediately, but Tara knew she'd dig. Law students were worse than investigators when they wanted to prove something. 2 days later, Ife sent screenshots. One showed a blurry Instagram photo from 2020, Ted and Rachel sitting close at an art cafe in Usedi, Abuja. The caption read, "With my headache at the Rachel Kalu Pazam Pazam, hashtag partners in crime." The second screenshot was a forwarded tweet, a thread about minor real estate scams in Abuja. And in the thread, Rachel K and Ted E were doing this back in 2020, 2021 before they suddenly disappeared. She was the face, he handled the dirty stuff. Naive landlords, beware. Tara saved the screenshots and stared at them all night. She had two options. One, show Henry now and risk being fired, or worse, accused of spying. Two, wait and gather more proof. But what if Rachel drained his account by then? The next morning, she chose something in between. While serving breakfast, she spoke gently. Tara said softly, "Sir, can I ask you something personal?" Henry looked at her, surprised. "Of course," he replied. Tara asked, "How did you meet Madam Rachel?" Henry smiled faintly. "At a conference. She impressed me. Strong, smart, passionate." Tara nodded. Then she asked carefully, "Do you think people can hide who they are for long?" He looked at her, more curious now than offended. "Sometimes, but eventually the truth finds a why?" "No reason, sir. I just think people who have something to hide often get very good at pretending," she replied, bowed and walked away. He didn't stop her, but he kept looking at how beautiful she looked and went back to his food. Rachel had a pattern. Every time Henry traveled, she relaxed. That Friday, he left for 2 nights in Abuja. By Saturday night, Rachel had invited a few friends over for wine and skincare nights. Tara was told to stay in the quarters unless called. Around 10:30 p.m., Tara stepped outside quietly to fetch her drying bed sheets when she noticed a familiar car outside the side gate. Black Toyota, tinted, the same car from weeks ago. 10 minutes later, she saw Rachel sneak out in a kaftan and slippers. She walked straight to the gate and Ted stepped out. Tara's heart pounded. This time there was no hug, it was an argument. Tara couldn't hear everything clearly, but words floated through the gate slats. Rachel whispered, yelling, "I told you I need more time." "He's cautious now." Ted replied, "He's not bland, he's just soft. You've got him eating from your hand. After that duplex signs over will disappear. You promised me, Rich." "I said I'm working on it, don't rush me," Rachel replied. Tara moved back quietly. They were still very much involved, and whatever they were planning, it was close to execution. Later that night, Henry came back. Tara didn't sleep. By 2 a.m., she sent an anonymous email from an unknown account to Henry's company email. It contained the Instagram screenshot, the tweet, and a short message. "You are a good man, but someone is using your trust against you. Please verify this before it's too late." She didn't sign it. She didn't want credit. She just wanted him to wake up. Henry woke up to the email at 6:14 a.m. No subject line, no sender name. At first, he thought it was spam, but when he opened the attachment, his entire world shifted. The photo, the tweet, the message. "You are a good man, but someone is using your trust against you. Please verify this before it's too late." He sat in silence for nearly 30 minutes. The woman beside him, Rachel, was still asleep, arms folded around his pillow like peace lived there. She didn't stir, didn't flinch. Henry stood up, picked his phone, and stepped out quietly. By noon, he'd spoken to two private investigators, his lawyer, and a tech consultant. By 3 p.m., he had Rachel's deleted call logs, uninstalled apps, and a flagged message she had sent to a number saved as S. The message read, "He's finally signing this week. After that, we ghost. You handle your end, Ted. I'll handle mine." Henry's hands were cold. Rachel had lied about everything, and worse, she was still in it, still acting. That night, he came home like usual, ate quietly, watched her move around in her robe. She came to sit beside him on the couch, kissed his cheek. Henry answered her calmly. "I want to ask you one question, Rachel, and I want the truth." She smiled faintly. "Of course." Who is Ted Ekine? He asked her. Her face changed. He's someone I used to know, my ex that I told you about. Why? He's someone who sent you an email last week asking for his cut, Henry replied. She stood up. I don't know what you are talking about. Henry handed her a brown envelope. Inside, the printout of her charts, the image, and a document showing Ted's name as witness to the fake duplex ownership transfer. I verified it all. You were never working on our future. You were planning to leave me with nothing and going back to your so called ex. Rachel broke, not gently, violently. She fell to her knees, hands trembling, mascara streaking. Please, Henry, I swear, Ted manipulated me. I was scared. I didn't even know how to pull out. I tried to stop. Henry's eyes narrowed. You had chances to tell me. You made me feel like I was overthinking every time I questioned something. You mocked my trust and lied that he was your ex, whereas he is your lover, and you plan to ruin me. Rachel sobbing, please don't throw me away. I love you, I do, please. He stood still for a moment, then spoke, voice low. Love without honesty is just manipulation dressed in perfume. She reached for his leg, he stepped back. You need to leave. Now. Rachel didn't park. Henry had already done it. About were waiting at the gate. A security man, Chike, stood beside the car. She cried, apologized, swore it was altered, but nothing landed anymore. The gate closed behind her like a final breath. The next few days were cold. Blog sites exploded with the news. Someone had leaked parts of the investigation. Rachel's name trended for the wrong reasons. Her family cut ties publicly. Ted was arrested trying to flee with a fake passport through Makurdi. He confessed under pressure, mentioned Rachel's name repeatedly, claimed she lured Henry into trust. He made the news. Henry didn't comment. He didn't need to, but through it all, Tara stayed silent. She cooked, cleaned, stayed out of sight until one evening, while Henry sat alone in the back garden, she brought him tea without a word. As she turned to leave, he spoke. It was you, wasn't it? She froze. I don't know what you mean, sir. Henry replied softly, the anonymous email. She looked at the ground. I was scared. I didn't think you'd believe me, and it wasn't my place. But how did you know? Well, I did my finding and tracked the IP address of the mail, and it was traced to you. You saved my life, Tara, he replied. I just didn't want to watch a good man born for a lie, she said. He didn't say anything after that, but that night he saw her. Not just the maid, not the girl in uniform. He saw the woman who stood in the shadows but chose the truth over silence, the woman he has been crushing on since she stepped into his house. 2 weeks had passed since Rachel's exit, but the house still felt like a ghost had walked through it. The wedding planner had sent a refund. The customized souvenirs arrived anyway, Rachel and Henry etched in gold foil. Henry ordered them burnt. He was quieter now, less confident, more human, not broken but bruised. Tara too had changed. She walked differently, more careful. There was no pride in being right. She had seen a man's heart nearly ruined and another woman's greed exposed. Nothing about it was satisfying, but their conversations grew. First, it was short. He would say, thank you for the tea. You're welcome, sir, she would answer. Then it deepened. What did you study again? Tara answered, social work. I wanted to run a shelter one day for women and kids. You still can, he replied. One evening, as they sat on the veranda watching dust settle, Henry asked gently, can I ask you something? Tara replied, nervous, yes, sir. Why are you still here? You could have left once the whole Rachel thing was over. You have a degree, you are smart. Tara didn't speak for a while, then quietly, because survivor teaches you to wait. I lost both parents in one night. I begged to finish school. I've starved before. This job, this house is not forever, but it's safe for now. She looked at him. Besides, not every woman who stays in a rich man's house is hoping to become his wife. That one line stunned him. It humbled him, and maybe It made him fall just a little bit more. Harry started noticing small things, not because Tara changed, but because his eyes finally opened. How she covered the rose bushes when the sun was too harsh. How she used her own money to buy antiseptic cream for the gate man's daughter. How she was reading a social policy textbook at night, not romance. One night after a long day, he found her asleep at the outdoor table, face down on pages of handwritten notes. Her pen was still in her hand. He didn't wake her immediately. He just stood there and smiled for the first time in weeks. The next morning, she met him in the hallway, head tied, eyes tired. You shouldn't study that hard. You will get wrinkles before 30. She smiled. I am not trying to look pretty, sir. I'm trying to make something of myself. He nodded. You already have. Later that day, Harry's driver handed her a sealed envelope. Inside, an acceptance letter for a short term diploma course at Alonda College of Social Work, with her name already registered and first fees paid. She marched to his study, heart racing. Sir, what is this? Henry, a thank you and a push. You said this house was just survival. Let's get you moving again. She responded, but I didn't ask. He answered, you don't owe me anything, and this isn't charity. This is a man with resources giving a good woman what she's earned. Tara looked at the paper, then at him, and for the first time since she stepped into the house, her eyes watered. Tara had finally completed her short course and she passed so well, but didn't want to leave the house because she wanted to be around Henry. It had rained earlier that day, not the heavy kind that floods the compound, but the gentle kind that leaves everything smelling like earth and forgiveness. By 6:30 p.m., the sky was clearing, orange and grey mixed like charcoal and sunset. Tara had just finished ironing Henry's shirts for the week, a habit she still kept, even though he now insisted the dry cleaner could do it. She didn't mind. It gave her routine rhythm. She changed into a loose cotton dress, tied a scarf around her head, and stepped out into the compound for her usual evening walk around the garden paths. Just before she reached the second turn, she heard his voice. Mind if I join you? She turned. He was in joggers and a t-shirt, holding a bottle of water. No assistant, no phone in his hand. Just Henry, quiet-eyed and soft-spoken lately. Tara replied a bit breathless. You walk now? He smiled, trying. Doctor said I need fresh air. I said, let me find where Tara always disappears to at dusk. She said nothing, just nodded and kept walking. He fell into step beside her. They walked in silence for a few minutes, their footsteps crunching lightly over gravel. Then he spoke. I've been meaning to tell you something, but timing is a strange thing. She glanced at him. You can talk. He took a breath, like someone checking if it was safe. I had a crush on you the day you walked into this house. Tara stopped. He continued. I didn't act on it. Not because you weren't incredible, but because I was engaged. And it would have been wrong. I told myself it would pass. It didn't. She looked at him, not shocked, just steady. I had one too. He blinked. Crush on you from the very beginning. He let out a low breath, almost a laugh. But I buried it. You were rich, successful, in love. You didn't even notice me properly. I told myself I was here to work and survive, not catch feelings I had no business having. He looked at her, really looked at her. But I noticed you more than I should have. I would be in meetings and hear you humming down the hallway. I used to stand outside the kitchen just to watch you cook sometimes. She replied playfully, so you were spying? He shrugged, crushing respectfully. They both laughed. Not the loud movie scene laugh, the kind that escapes when something inside finally loosens. They reached the edge of the garden, where a bench sat under a frangipani tree. She sat first. He followed. It was quiet for a while. Then she asked, what are we doing, Henry? I don't know yet, but I know I don't want to go back to pretending like I don't feel what I feel, he replied. She asked him, and what do you feel? He turned to her, safe, drawn, curious, hopeful, and very, very lucky to know you. Not just as the girl who exposed Rachel, but as the woman who's held this house together with grace. She looked down at her hands. I'm scared, he answered. Maybe that's how we know it's real. They didn't kiss, they didn't hold hands, but as they sat side by side, the space between them wasn't empty anymore. It was filled with trust, with glances, with the warmth of long held affection finally finding its voice. As the breeze moved gently through the leaves above them, Tara looked up and said, maybe we see where this goes. Slowly, honestly. Henry smiled. I wouldn't want it any other way. No be every love wey start for big house go end for heartbreak. Henry na lesson e learn say love no be packaging. Na me be Aunty Gistina, the hottest gist giver for dis side of town. I go see una next time for another gbege story. Bye bye o.